Austin Reed is no longer on the playing board.
Good. Should have seen the human trafficking angle. It's been a big problem here for a long while. Of course, someone in Santa Blanca's gonna bloody his paw with it. I feel like an asshole.
Ghost Recon Wildlands is an Ubisoft game. And if you understand what that means, you'll probably be able to guess what I have to say about it. Let's start off with the big achievement here, and that is the world map. This is the biggest open world map that I have seen in a AAA game, and it is certainly the most organic and best looking. I mean, the lighting effects here, the atmospheric effects, everything comes together, at least on the PC, if you can run it at the highest settings, comes together in a way that at times can fool you into thinking that it's actually photorealistic. Now, upon closer analysis of some things, and because of some streaming issues with textures, it doesn't always give you that look, but 90% of the time this is something that would justify a graphics card purchase, and it's something that would justify a graphics card purchase that's paired with a monitor upgrade. That's how good this game looks. And I want to come back to that word I used earlier, which is organic. This map feels like they took a satellite photo, ripped it out of Google Earth, and then put in all the 3D assets where they were supposed to be and said, look, we created a map. It is tech demo levels of artistry here, and it's really, really, really fun to look at. The problem is that the main game lets this down. This is a map that begs to be explored. It's something that wants to be understood and dominated, and unfortunately you don't really get to do that in the single player campaign. Let's start off here with the gameplay premise. And what you are is a member of an elite special forces team that has been sent into Bolivia to take out a drug cartel. You take out this drug cartel by basically killing off middle management, killing off upper management, and then taking a run at the head honcho. That's pretty simple, and it's something that could have been harnessed to, again, give this map some value outside of its tech demo appeal. Unfortunately, the narrative is hit and miss in the way it's portrayed. You do have fairly entertaining, I think, storyboard sequences which fill in the details about who you're dealing with there in Bolivia, but that's counterbalanced by some hit and miss in-game dialogue, as well as really lackluster interrogation scenes with the CIA handler. This is a game that is very much guilty of what I like to call checkboxing, and that is where a developer says the game needs to have these things, and so they are developed in such a way as to satisfy that requirement without necessarily paying attention or spending too much time on things like quality. And this is most apparent in the design of the core gameplay. Again, you're here systematically dismantling a cartel and a tale of US interventionism, which goes down about how you would expect that sort of thing to go down. And so we have rebels which are aiding in our overthrow of the cartel. We're supposed to be setting up infrastructure for them to retake Bolivia. You know the drill, okay? And this is something that is begging to utilize this fantastic map in the form of capturing bases and turning them into rebel strongholds, in establishing supply lines to maintain those bases and those strongholds. Factional warfare, where you capture a region and then another faction, either the cartel or Unidad, come in and try and recapture it and claim it from your rebels. Something that involves actual interventionist developments. Unfortunately, this all boils down to upgrading certain special abilities, like being able to call in a mortar strike, and increased patrols of allied forces. If you go in and capture a base or a stronghold that's held by one of the enemy factions in this game, and you leave, they will all respawn there, and you'll have to do it all over again. There's no real change in the balance of power in the game outside of this patrol and upgrade system where you can call in a bigger mortar strike or call in more reinforcements and so forth. You never feel, as a result, that you are making a tangible difference in what's happening in the game world. It all just sort of feels like it's been reduced to a stat screen, which in fact it has. The AI here is a yin and yang affair as well. The enemy AI, for its credit, is actually, I think, very good. When you select a difficulty level, you get exactly the type of experience you would expect from the description of that difficulty level. The easiest difficulty level is like shooting fish in a barrel. The extreme difficulty level is full-on simulation mode. The only caveat I would say is that for some reason on all difficulty levels, the enemy AI has some weird ability to determine exactly where you are if they discover a drone. It's like they zero in right on it, right? And that's a little bit disappointing because it can be immersion breaking when you get into it at the higher difficulty levels. Now, your allied AI, on the other hand, is god-awful. It's terrible. It's among the worst team AI I have seen in a shooter, and you really can't avoid it. When you play this game in solo mode, you feel alone. That is how ineffectual and ineffective these guys are. They will allow enemies to walk right up on you while they're standing there, mind you. While they're mere meters away, they will allow enemy forces to walk right up to you, shoot you in the back of the head, and only then take action to defend you. Most of the time they're all over the map. Now, I understand they're being spread out if they're lining up for things like sync shots, but most of the time, unless you're constantly on the AI controls and telling them group up, regroup, go here, go there, unless you baby them, they're all off doing their own thing. And it really turns the core game, which is guilty, like I said earlier, of checkboxing, into just monotony, because your side missions to help the rebels involve capturing vehicles, capturing resources, and it's all the same 2 or 3 missions just dotted hundreds of times over the map. The story missions, again, are the same thing. There is no real climax in the things that you do. It all just feels the same after the first hour or two of gameplay. Now, all of this changes when you play it in co-op.
Fucking hell!
When you go and join a game with 1 to 3 other people, this game fundamentally transforms into one that is genuinely fun the vast majority of the time, irrespective of what you're doing. Those same dull, boring missions where you're hijacking the same set of convoys, or you're going and clearing out the same base, replaying story missions, or just causing general chaos, right? That stuff, when you play it with people, is really, really fun. And the reason why is because that's the only way to play on a team. It's the only way in Ghost Recon Wildlands to be part of a ghost squad instead of being the lone ghost. They have a tier mode, and basically what this is something that was patched in later on after release, where basically the difficulty goes up. And you get locked into the highest difficulty as your weapons and stuff improve. There are some cheap things that go on there. For instance, you can further upgrade the damage of your weapons to the point where they basically shoot TNT.
Escort car destroyed.
Tango down. Let's notify Bowman.
Outstanding work in Kuwani.
Down, get down, chopper. Got the healing.
But even stuff like this, as comical as it is in a game that's trying to be serious, is genuinely fun and worth checking out when you're playing with people. So, who's going to like this game? Who's not going to like this game? Why should you buy it? Why shouldn't you? People who really enjoy single-player experiences, I would say be wary of this one, because if you've played this style of game before, so many other people have done this better. As a matter of fact, the first game that came to mind when I played this was SOCOM 2, way back on the PlayStation 2. And you were part of a four-man squad there, and that squad actually functioned light years better than this one does, and the game had many of the same elements, as a matter of fact. And that, I think, was actually a better single-player game, by far. So if that's your sort of reference point, if you understand what I'm talking about when I say that, this is one that has the potential to bore you to tears in single player. If, on the other hand, you might be able to pick this up in a bundle, and I know that a while back, I think it was EVGA, some others might have been doing it, but they were bundling 10 series graphics cards with For Honor and this game. Get this game. This will justify, as I said earlier, any graphics card purchased because of how well presented it is. This is actually the only, alright, so this is an exclusive for this channel. Not that there's a lot of videos at this point in time, but you know what? We're going to do exclusives anyways. This is the only game I would say it's worth it. This is the only shooter, I should say, that is worth it to play at a lower frames per second if you can do it at the ultra settings. If you have a graphics card, you're on a 1440p or 1080p monitor or a 4K monitor, and you can play this game either at a DSR resolution or something above 1080 and have it all maxed out and playing at like 30 to 40 FPS, I'd actually do it on this game, and I have. That's how good this looks. And if you like co-op, this is easily a easy co-op buy. If you enjoy playing co-op with people and causing chaos, if Grand Theft Auto 4 or 5 I should say is your thing, this is a good military version of that. You can just go out there, you can cause chaos, or you can do missions, and it's fun. Outside of that, there's really nothing else to say here. Very mediocre single-player campaign, fantastic multiplayer. You've been watching Hard Mode. Thank you for subscribing.
So yeah, sure. So and we had so let's be honest. We had a lot of articles like in the past days about, hey, you need 2.5 years to unlock all the content of the game. It's too grindy, and it started an interesting discussion, I think, even within the team. And I want to like take a step back and explain how we build our game.
Yeah, let's take a step back.
And what is our design philosophy. So the design philosophy we never had an intention for you to unlock everything in the game.
Ah! Osea, this is bullshit! I want to talk to my lawyer!
Lawyer?
Ah!
We're in the big leagues, asshole. The only thing your lawyer can do now is make sure your will's in order.
Hey, hold on now! Let's work this out! How much money do you want?